The Oakland Raiders travel across the country on Sunday to face the Miami Dolphins in sunny Miami. Now, Oakland has traditionally struggled in the early 1 o'clock time slot on the East Coast, but they are favored in this game, a 1-point favorite right now on BETDAQ, 39 the total in this game. And the reason Oakland's favored, even though they have, like I said, struggled traditionally in spots like this, is because the Miami Dolphins appear to be absolutely awful. I mean, I've been looking at this game, studying this game, and I've been trying to find a Miami angle. And the best I can come up with is the line is suspiciously low. Feels kind of fishy, a little fishy. That old saying, when something looks good to be too good to be true, it probably is. That could apply in this game because Oakland's a better team than Miami. They have better personnel than Miami. If you saw that team play on Monday night against San Diego Chargers, you know what I'm talking about, particularly offensively. I mean, they've got some players. Carson Palmer can still throw the football, threw for 297 yards last week. Darius Hayward-Bay, good young wide receiver. Their best wide receiver, Denarius Moore, who missed last week's game. He will be back for this week's game. And Darren McFadden, I mean, for my money, maybe I overrate this guy a little bit. I consider him a top 5 or 6 back. I said that the other day, and sort of one of my friends gave me a hard time, said he might not be at that level. So maybe he's not. Yeah, I consider this guy a top 5, 6 back. He's definitely a top 10, 12 back when he's healthy. Didn't rush for that many yards week 1 against San Diego. Did catch 13 passes, a career high. He was their best player on offense. I mean, you could argue it was Carson Palmer. He had a nice game. But the reason Oakland didn't win that game is, same old Oakland Raiders. New era, new coaching staff, no more Al Davis, but same old Oakland Raiders. Untimely penalties, shooting themselves in the foot in a variety of ways. This time it turned out to be a little bit of a bad break. Their long snapper getting injured. They had to turn to a backup linebacker and long snap. It was disastrous, as you know, if you saw the game. So it looked like typical Oakland Raiders stuff. And maybe you could expect more of that this week, but how are the Miami Dolphins going to win this game? How are they going to score? Let's start with that. On offense, Miami is a mess. Reggie Bush is their go-to guy right now, and Reggie Bush has been a bit of a disappointment ever since he's been in the NFL. Better served as a third down back, probably on a good team, but he is the Dolphins' workhorse. They're starting rookie quarterback Ryan Tannehill, who played awful last week. If it weren't for Brandon Weeden for Cleveland, Brandon Weeden bailed him out because all the talk this week was about Weeden, the lowest quarterback rating in history for a rookie, or since 1961 or something, for a rookie in his debut with a minimum certain amount of passes. Anyway, a historically bad game for Cleveland's Brandon Weeden, which has taken some of the focus off of Ryan Tannehill, another rookie that put up a clunker of a performance, 3 interceptions in that loss to the Houston Texans. Is Tannehill the best guy for the job? And it's not only Miami that I asked this question about. It's Seattle, it's other teams, but maybe Seattle's a bad example because Russell Wilson wasn't a first-round pick, but Cleveland's certainly a good example of this with the Brandon Weeden and Colt McCoy situation. It just seems like a lot of times in the NFL today, they draft these quarterbacks in the first round, and they just feel like they have to throw them out there to see what they got. Because maybe the backup, a guy like Matt Moore in Miami or Colt McCoy in Cleveland, well, they might not have a high enough ceiling. They might know what those guys are, and those guys can't get them to the place they want to be. So they throw these rookies out there even if they're not as good right now as the other guy, the guy sitting on the bench. And I think that's ridiculous. It's a slap in the face to ticket-buying fans. And as bettors, if you're going to bet on these games, you need to be aware of situations like this. And Ryan Tannehill has no business being on an NFL field right now as a starting quarterback. This guy doesn't have much experience as a quarterback, period. Started his career at Texas A&M as a wide receiver. I mean, this guy only played quarterback for a couple of years in college. So, again, how is Miami going to score in this game? The Raiders don't have a good defense, and they looked mildly improved last week. They were terrible last year. Dennis Allen is a defensive guy. They brought him over from Denver as a defensive coordinator there, so you'd expect him to shore up the defense. Apparently that progress is slow based on last week, even though, the Chargers are a good offense, and it's not like they put up 40 points or anything like that. But how's Miami going to generate offense? And Miami on defense was nothing special certainly last week. Texans scored 24 second quarter points in that game. And Oakland, I was impressed with Oakland on offense. So, like I said, the line feels fishy. Oakland -1, I guess it's going to scare me off. I'm going to stay away. It's going to end up being the one I regret, just like last week. Last week I didn't bet on the Patriots. To me, it felt, they were 4.5-point favorites, I believe, on the road in Tennessee. 4.5 or 5.5, depending on which line you got. I think BETDAQ had 4.5. And I'd say, well, the Patriots should be favored by more than that. Feels a little fishy. I think I'll stay away. Kicking myself all day Sunday, saying that's easy money. They're just handing out money there. And maybe this is the same case here in this Oakland-Miami game because the Oakland Raiders certainly should win this game. They've been good to bettors recently on the road, 7-2 against the spread, their last 9 on the road. Now, Miami also has some trends working in their favor. They're 9-2 in their last 11 games overall, but they only played 1 game with a rookie quarterback. I mean, this is a new Miami team now with Ryan Tannehill playing quarterback. And they shipped off their best wide receiver, Brandon Marshall, in the offseason. No weapons on offense, an average to below average defense. I mean, where is the hope for this Miami team? Early, Miami, this could be the worst team in the league. It's tough to say this after week 1, obviously. And maybe Miami will get it together, prove me wrong, and surprise me. And if they put Matt Moore in there at quarterback, not sure I'd peg them as the worst team in the league. But, if Oakland loses to Miami this week on the road, I guess they can take comfort in knowing, well, at least they lost to the worst team in the league. That'd be very Raider-like, and then be very Raider-like to go and rattle off 3 or 4 wins, if indeed this are the same old Raiders. And last week against the Chargers, this did look like the same old Raiders. So anyway, I don't know what to make of this game. Again, I'm staying away. 39 is a low total, but I do expect this to be a low-scoring game. I'll repeat myself. How is Miami going to generate offense in this game? And if the Dolphins have any chance to win, it is going to be limiting this Oakland Raiders offense, which has not really proven anything. Not one of the better offenses in the league, even though they were one of the top half in the league last year statistically. But the pieces are there. I mean, when you watch them play against San Diego, they should be better than they are. And so we'll see if they can put it together and get a win this week in South Florida.